Welcome to OpenText Output Server installation with MySQL database. In this video, we will go through the standard installation of OpenText Output Server version 16.6 on a Linux machine with MySQL database. For this, the prerequisites are a valid output server license file, MySQL installed on a remote machine, a database and user will have to be created along with granting privileges. So we will go through the steps to create database and user during the output server installation. Next, we need open source package star file. This star file would contain all the open source softwares that have been used in output server. Next, we need data direct ODBC drivers. So there would be a separate video which would cover all these prerequisites in detail. Now to install output server, the package will be available on Microsoft Teams shortly, whereas post 16.6 release it will be available on OpenText My Support page. Next, we will look into the steps to install output server using MySQL database. Log into a Linux machine and navigate to the path where the output server package is located. So these are the files that are available in the output server package. Do not use system generated Perl. It is always recommended to use the Perl that is provided with the output server package, as it would contain configuration changes. We use setup.pl script to run the installation. So let us begin the installation by running the setup script. So on running the setup script, it gives two options to choose. One is to install OpenText Output Management product components, or two is to uninstall. And on specifying an operation every time, there is always a default option that is being prompted. You can hit enter and go with the default option, or you can enter any of the options that are available and proceed further. You can use the same setup script to even uninstall output server, where you will be choosing option 2. Now we'll go with the installation by selecting 1. Next, we need to choose whether it is OpenText Output Server or OpenText Output Server client only. So we will be installing OpenText Output Server, and we will mainly be going with the default options. So going with first option. Next, we need to select the type of installation. So here we will go with the standard installation. So that is option 1. Next, we need to choose an operation of license or fingerprint generation. So we'll go with the license file. So that is option 1. So here we will have to provide the full path of the license file. So this license file will have to be a valid one. On providing an invalid license file, it prompts you to provide a valid license file. Next, we need to provide the path where we want to install OpenText Output Server binaries. So for this, you could provide a path of your choice. I will enter this path. So it says the directory does not exist. Do you want to create it? Yes. Next, we need to enter the path where we want to install output server instance. So it has taken the same path that I have provided earlier. So we'll continue with that option. Next, we need to enter the path where we want to store output server log files. So it will create a log folder under the output server instance path itself, where it would store all the log files. So we'll go with this option. So it says the directory does not exist, and do you want to create it? Yes. Next, we need to enter the name of the user who will own the installed files. So you could again enter the username of your choice. So I'll continue with the default option. Next is, do you want to restrict access to the server binaries to other users? No. Next, do you want to create a set of default servers? So we'll go with option 1, where it says yes, create primary servers and one default server for each delivery server. Next we need to enter the output server domain name. So here you could enter the domain name of your choice, but make sure that it starts with a letter and can contain letters, numbers or other specific characters. So I'll go with the default option. Next we need to enter the OpenText Output Server NM port number. So it has to be in the range that is being given here. So I'll go with 4010. Next, do you want to configure advanced server options? We'll go with no. Do you want the setup to start the servers at the end of installation? Yes. Next, we need to select the type of database that we want to use. So we will go with MySQL and it is option 2. So we'll enter 2 and hit enter. Next, we need to enter the host name or IP address where MySQL database server is running. So for this, we will log into a machine where MySQL database server is installed. So I will log in here. So first we will have to create the database. So create database and provide the database name. So this is the command to create database. So next we need to create user. This is the command. Create user. This is the username at. This is the host of the output server where it will be installed, identified by the password. You will have to provide the password here. Next we will have to grant privileges. Grant all privileges to the user, and this is the host of the output server with grant option. Next, flush privileges. So these are the steps to create database and user and grant privileges. So we need to make sure that the host name of MySQL installed server is resolvable by the output server host. That is, MySQL installed host and output server installed host are able to do the DNS resolution to each other. Now we will go back and continue with the output server installation steps. So we had just selected MySQL database option, where we will have to now enter the host name or IP address where the MySQL database server is running. So this is the host name where MySQL database server is running. So we will enter this here. Next we need to enter the database name. So this was the database name that we provided. Next we need to enter the port number for MySQL database server. So this is the port number. Next we need to enter the MySQL username. So this was the username that we chose. Next we need to enter the password for MySQL database server. So this was the password that we chose. Next we need to re-enter the password. Next we will have to enter the installed path for OpenText ODBC MySQL driver. Next we need to enter the full path of open source package start file. Next, do you want to enable encryption for OpenText Output Server? We'll go with yes. So after choosing all the options, we will have to perform a pre-installation check. So here it gives a list where we can review the installation and configuration options. If all the installation and configuration options are correct, then we proceed with yes. If we need to make one or more changes, then we will enter no and then make necessary changes and then proceed further. So we'll now go with yes option. So it has started output server package extraction. Open source package extraction is successful. Now it is configuring all primary and delivery servers. Now the installation has been completed. So it says OpenText Output Server 16.6 server successfully installed and configured. To check the status of the servers, we will have to source the environment. Yeah, so we see that all the servers are up and running. We will check the output server version now. So we see that it is output server version 16.6 and package 10 that has been installed here. So with this we have successfully installed output server on a Linux machine with MySQL database. Thank you.